this is Greg Tetzlaff.
Hey guys, how we doing? So this is our temporary space. The company started in Bryan, Texas, about 2 hours away from here.
Right, that's my college station,
That's
Texas
right.
A&M.
Texas A&M. Our company's moving to Austin, and so right now everybody's shacked up across Austin, and this is our marketing office. So that's why we got Mike coming in here.
All right, here we go, getting scrappy. Hello.
Welcome.
This is craziness.
So we're going to be in the extend room today, Mike.
Oh, right, hey, there we go.
Those
Boom.
ECAs that you just drank on the way over here.
Yeah.
Welcome to PricePlow.
What's happening, PricePlow Nation? Welcome to the PricePlow Podcast. This is Mike Roberto. I'm your host, and I'm here at the Cellucor World Headquarters in Austin, Texas. We could talk a little bit about this is a temporary space, but I'm with Frank DiLorenzo and Greg Tetzlaff, the product educator. And Frank, you do a lot of stuff here, but what's your main?
So I'm the director of product development. So primary focus is overseeing commercialization of North America and international at this point. So.
Great. And so the big reason we're here is, first off, I'm just southwest of Austin, so come here anytime, and it's been way too long. But the big announcement here, because today is August 1st of 2019, you guys just launched the new C4, which is called C4 Extreme. And it also came with, we don't have the stevia-based tub either, with the C4 Natural Zero, with that blueberry flavor, one of the best tasting stevia-based products I've ever had. So we're going to talk about this product launch, but before we begin, got to have the latest and greatest flavor of the can, which I haven't had. And this is cotton candy. Since I have a lav mic on, we're going to do a couple chugs, and then Brad will edit that out for you.
I saw that on the last one with Ben. You guys had chugging breaks.
Yes.
I like that.
We have to because the lav mic. Otherwise, I like lav mics, especially.
So I'm not Mike, so I get to just drink whenever then, right?
Yes, unless you
drink
drink
by
so
Frank's
loud
microphone?
that cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Thanks, Frank.
World premiere exclusive.
Oh, that's good. That's sweet.
In real time.
That's what you expect.
Yeah.
Off of a single drink, I still the Midnight Cherry. Man, that's good. Midnight Cherry and Orange Slice are like my two tops right there. Yeah, exactly. This can's gonna be a goner though. That is really good.
That one's trending well for us. So
Definitely cool.
Yep.
Okay, so now that the chugs are edited out at least for the first round of chugs, thanks for having me and everything. So let's talk about C4 Extreme first off. Unless you have something to say about yourself or the company or like what's going on over here in general first. Or do you just want to dive right into the product?
So like we talked about, we're in our temporary marketing space in
Yeah.
Austin. The company as a whole is moving out of Bryan, Texas, which is right by Texas A&M. That's where we started in 2002. That's where C4 was launched in 2011. That's our heritage. We are moving to Austin, so we're kind of all over the greater Austin area right now. So we are currently in the extend room. We name all of our conference rooms after our products. So there's pre, post, pro. P6 is over there. I think C4 is our current temporary legal office. We have our ultimate room is the boardroom, so we have fun with those. But we're excited to get to the next HQ in the coming months.
And so that'll clearly be in the Austin area. You're bringing everyone back home. You used to have like an office in New York. Has that been pulled in?
And that was the office that this team resided in before coming to Austin. So we migrated a lot of our top talent from New York to Austin to be closer to Bryan, and then we said, you know what, let's get the family under one roof, and that's what we're doing now.
Okay, gotcha. Now that facility in College Station or Bryan was like Tony Stark house, like top-notch facility. I think for the next big one that you hopefully eventually build out, we got some high hopes.
Yeah. Doss and the team work with incredible
basketball
architects. Yeah, we're super pumped. So excited to continue that tradition as well.
Sweet. Okay, so here we are, 2019, and you told us for a little while, hey, we got something big coming. Project Clear Evolution. And you slowly started leaking more and more information out, and it became known that this was the next C4, which is, if not the best, one of the top two or whatever, the best selling pre-workout that there is on the market. So that's not a small endeavor. How do you what happened? How did it even start where you're like, we need a new C4? Well, or is this just something you have to do every few years?
I mean, you definitely have to do it every few years. So as your consumer changes, as innovation kind of happens just in the industry with new ingredients, something unique like a citrulline nitrate that we have in here, just the expectations of what our audience is and how they're evolving. You just got to touch these things pretty frequently, and that's what we did here. And it's not easy for us because we're someone who's very critical of ourselves and our products and what we're doing. So, this formulation probably changed, 3 or 4 times before we like landed on where we are today. So like there's a lot of back and forth that goes into it, a lot of like alpha testing, beta testing that we do internally before we kind of settle on this is the one that we want to do and want to commercialize. So.
And those 3 to 4 revisions, that's pre-stability, pre-flavoring. That's
Right. That was just
so.
Look at all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, this was probably kicked off like June of last year when we started it. Went through a couple different iterations. We probably didn't settle on this iteration until early 2019. So we did a lot of the initial flavoring work probably back half of 2018. And you mentioned you like blueberry lemonade, the natural zero.
The natural zero.
We have probably 3 or 4 other ones ready to go that are pretty good too. So we're happy with what we were able to do from a flavor perspective there. So it just takes a while for us to kind of really get to where we want to be because we're kind of perfectionists.
Right, and those are some of the questions I'm going to be asking you. Now, when the product, there's been some major changes here. Obviously, the first and foremost, it is an open formula.
Yep.
So was this something that you internally decided to do, or were you getting enough commentary or questions from the outside? And I'm going to have that same question with the natural coloring and the mostly, is it all natural flavored? But
yeah, all of them are all natural flavors.
No artificial flavor chemicals or anything like that?
Yeah, no artificial flavors, no artificial colors.
Was that driven from the outside, or did that come from the inside, or a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? We're definitely monitoring, market trends where people are at. There is that need for, from our audience for a naturally, flavored and colored product, and we do take that feedback and we look at it and monitor those trends, and we try to find that intersection of where our customers are currently and where they want to go in the future. So we try to be very, forward-looking with some of the things that we're doing. And we just felt like it was time to kind of to cross that bridge, honestly, and go that direction. And we're doing it with the carbonateds as well. Probably our first foray where we took the colors out of there.
Right. Oh yeah, we gave you a lot of trouble on that one.
Yeah, and honestly, we hear it from the other side too, where when we took the colors out, people are like, "Oh my God, these don't taste as good." And it's the exact same flavor system, right? So it's funny. Yeah. So you kind of hear it. You hear it both ways. But no, there's definitely way more demand for things that are naturally colored, naturally flavored, naturally sweetened, and that's one of the reasons we went down that path. So.
Gotcha.
But the other thing to touch on that is, you said, was this only external, internal, a mixture of both? Definitely can't emphasize enough it's a mixture of both. We make products that we want to take, and when we sit in the formula committee, which we do every Tuesday, when we're sitting up there looking at formulas, looking at what's under the hood, looking at the ingredients that we want to include, the flavors we want to include, at the core of it, there's I think of it this way. If you're a 9-year-old kid and you've got Lamborghini posters on the wall, that's our inner meathead. It's like, I want to take this.
Right.
I really, really want this. And so we've got different consumers at different journeys, different levels of their own fitness journey, that we want to make products that align perfectly for that consumer. And on some of these products that, especially, some of the hardcore guys in our company, or some of the people that are just starting their own fitness journey, we kind of wear those hats of like, well, what would this person want? What would this person want? And that's kind of where the family develops from. But at the core, it's just that giddy, like, Frank, can we make this? Let me know when you get beta samples. Hey, we're going to have beta samples. Who wants to test this? Everyone has their hand up.
Yeah, one thing I saw, everything is pretty crowded here because it's temporary housing, but the biggest logjam was in front of the fridge. So...
Why would that be?
Exactly. So yeah, everyone, I can't say everyone, but a lot of people are definitely using the products, and there's tubs of stuff everywhere. There's cans in the fridge. Obviously, we'll show some B-roll on YouTube.
We have another space that our sales and finance team is at, and I'm sitting on the team that's helping with this relocation. And so it's no small feat to just reload people across the state. And one of our top things was like, okay, we need electrical, we need internet, we need pallets of C4. Like, it was like on the podium, and there were like caps lock emails of like, do we have C4 here? Like, do we have cases? Do we need this? And so our entire team, there's cases stacked to the nines out there.
Yeah.
It's just,
Definitely a company group email that went out when we got it in the other temporary location. And,
That's awesome.
As you can imagine, people are very excited.
Is there even a coffee maker, or is that not allowed?
What's coffee?
Yeah. No, there is, but
Cool.
It's rarely used.
Sounds like it's a great company to work for. That's kind of what I gathered the first time visiting.
We have fun.
Yeah,
We're
and
very
Brian
blessed.
and everything. All right, so back to the formula. So the two outside of open formula and everything, major change. First and foremost, caffeine's up to 200 milligrams as opposed to 150.
Yep.
So what drove the 200 milligram decision? And I'd like to say in a way like thanks, because now it's not a 2-scooper. But it's not, you still could 2-scoop it. I really wouldn't at this point. Like my take is it's now a nice little heaping scooper. It's kind of like how I say it. But what drove the 200 milligram caffeine?
So yeah, definitely, partly probably response to how well the carbonated cans were received, and then also partly to just us monitoring, trends in the industry, and also just collecting data points of what are people really consuming, like on a day-to-day basis of caffeine from all different sources, and kind of felt like we needed to kind of give it a little bit of a bump, and go from 150 to 200 and get to that nice, I would say, like kind of a mid-range level for people.
Right.
So we kind of take a lot of different data points that are out there and take them into consideration when we make decisions like that, and just felt like 200 was really the right number for a large subset of people. And there's definitely people like, we see your Instagram and stuff, and
We're gonna get to that. Yeah.
There's very, people are very emotional and post and passionate about, the products that they want to see. And we want to be able to Greg's point, make products that everyone can use, and not everyone, is wanting 300 milligrams caffeine or higher even. But we felt like this was a nice, kind of a middle ground for the majority of people that take these products. And we want to develop products that we can create for many different people.
Right.
And to add to that, to kind of step back and zoom out, Project Clear Evolution is the new platform.
Yep.
One thing that we noticed when this product came out is people were saying, is this just another C4? And it's not. Just like you saw in 2015, we brought out the C4 rips, the C4 masses. We started horizontally segmenting the business. You see this a lot in other industries as well. And then 2016, 17, 18, you saw the ID series develop. Project Clear Evolution is the new platform. And so the reason why C4 Extreme lives at 200 milligrams is you will still have the C4 Original. You will still have the evolution of C4 Sports. And so there will still be that architecture where if someone doesn't want 200 milligrams of caffeine, because for a meaningful amount of the population who do not want high stimulatory products, not like Roberto, that is right in their wheelhouse of what they're needing. And so that's exactly why we've sat it to.
Agreed. So the question, so you say there's still going to be a C4 original? Like there's going to be a C4 not extreme? Or is
for sure.
Is that going to change at all, or is that going to stay the... I didn't know that, to be honest.
Original, kind of the OG of the Chrome.
Right.
2011, we came out with the Chrome.
Right.
We're really, really favoring kind of keeping C4 Original in that Chrome packaging right now. That's going to be the OG. It's going to live its life, do its thing. And then on top of it, we'll continue to evolve.
I didn't know that.
The rips. Yeah.
I thought this was a replacement for that.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
So so the story on our Instagram is that we've followed a lot of supplement companies, many hardcore ones. We're sponsored by some that are fighting the law and all that stuff, and I'm all for that. But we've kind of grown this audience, at least internally, of people who want the craziest, strongest stuff, and then we catch ourselves getting a little bit of crap anytime we support something that's not 300 milligrams of caffeine and pressing every last button that is going to get an FDA letter or something like that. And so that's what kind of Frank was alluding to in that Instagram. Some people were not happy with the fact that we are so supportive of this. And to my pitch is that this is more of a mainstream pre-workout supplement. This is something that, like, when my dad comes to visit Austin, he asks for these cans. I don't know if he likes cotton candy, but he loves them. I'm not going to give him, any
Ultimate?
crazy, even that. Yeah, I'm not going to give him Alpha Yo. I'm not going to give him any Rawlsine or whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to give him something that's got 400 milligrams of caffeine. But he does like, a more entry-level can. So I'm not sure the right word to say for it is, but it's like, dude, this is a mainstream product. We're not we can't just be like, you need to go insane all the time.
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, like it would be disingenuous for us to like create what we think is a universal product, because people have different goals, objectives, wants, desires. I mean, there's certain workouts where I'm a person who basically drinks caffeine for a living because I taste samples all day long.
I know it.
And so, certain workouts, yeah, I mean, I take an ultimate because I've been training for a long time, been taking products for a long time, and that's kind of where I need to be. But then there's other workouts where, I don't really want to go that high because my workout isn't structured in a way where I just need to blow out my adrenal glands, with caffeine and stimulants to kind of produce the result I want. So, it's really kind of, when we build C4s, and we hear this too, like, oh my God, you have so many C4s. We want to give our consumers choices because, we want to give them that kind of flexibility where it's like, hey, there's different objectives for different people, and there's different objectives even within the same person going to multiple different types of workouts. And there's going to be a C4 for you. And we kind of look at everything like if you play like Madden, right? Like attributes and sliders. That's kind of what C4 is. Like we have those sliders where it's like, hey, you want to amplify the energy? Let's do it. Like, hey, you want something that has, more pumps? Let's do it. If you need less pumps, fat burning component, what have you. So there's a plethora of products because we're there to support a variety of people and just make our products that are accessible. And, luckily we have, to the detriment of our supply chain team, but luckily we have such a good supply chain team that can accommodate, us when we're developing all these things because, we want to make products for everyone.
Okay, so I want to unpack a little bit what you said earlier. You mentioned the person who would take this. So who is the average person when you were developing this product? Who is kind of the average person in the middle of that demographic that would take this product? And then I want to ask you about your personal caffeine, why, so what you just mentioned there, but who is your Joe user for this one?
So, this is definitely going to be a user who, probably has been working out, maybe not super hardcore, but for, probably a couple years. Fitness is definitely something that they are, into and incorporate into their lifestyle, but they may not be like, hey, gym over everything. I'm trying to bring my strength to the, absolute max, and I'm trying to set a PR every workout that I'm going in. But someone who, wants to just have a adjunct that improves their performance, right? So it's like, hey, they need that pick me up. They need something to help kind of set the tone for their workout and have a great workout. And they kind of, they look for a product that has attributes in multiple different benefit categories, right? Like a bucket of muscular endurance, pumps, energy, focus, which, how this formula is constructed kind of hits all of those buckets, and is not necessarily like, hey, I'm here to, squat 600 pounds. I'm not a competitive power lifter. I don't need that extra because, the demands of this workout don't necessarily call for it. So, and, there's also a large segment where, you have female consumers and people that are just smaller body weight where they're not going to, from a milligram per kilogram perspective, this is a lot higher dose of caffeine than someone who's 250 pounds. So, it just depending on body size. So, it kind of fits the bucket for a large, variety of people. And, I would think, to your point, like entry level, but even someone who has been lifting for a while, but maybe not be super hardcore or want, the absolute, highest amount of stimulants, or someone who just doesn't drink a lot of caffeine regularly. I try to tell people to take the lowest amount of stimulants you need to get the job done. There's no sense in taking extra. And then there, you have people where, they take 300 milligrams of caffeine and it has an ergolytic effect, right? Where it actually makes performance worse. So, really what we try to do with all these products is allow the consumer to help, determine what the right product is for the job, right? The right tool for the job. I wouldn't use a hammer if I need a screwdriver. So that's, how our products are.
And at the same time too, you'll see, we hear from athletes all the time about, I want something that's got caffeine at a solid dose that gets my energy up, that I'm not going to be panting, my heart rate's not going to be going crazy during my endurance training. If you're doing short bursts of energy like a power lifter where you're putting everything into it and you just need to be amped up for that moment, that's totally different than someone who's just keeping their heart rate elevated for endurance for a long time. So that's one of the main components of feedback that we get when we make products that sit at this level. And we'll have a lot of games athletes and people that say, this is perfect for me, it gets me up, I'm delivering, it's not zapping me through the roof. We'll also hear that about the paresthesia. People love that they can feel it activate, kind of feel their body wake up.
And Greg's talking about the tingles that you get from the beta-alanine.
Yeah, love as well. So sitting that at 2 grams is right in that wheelhouse of where a lot of these consumers say, this is the engine that I want to drive my workout.
Okay, so let's get to you personally really quick, just as our example here.
Cue my drink break.
Me too.
Yeah, there you go.
I made a choice
Did
of.
you get a burping break because these are carbonated?
No,
That's
this is a
real thing.
professional podcast.
Oh,
yeah, of course.
excuse me. No. That's a real thing. Once these came out, like,
Oh yeah.
we're burping around this.
Was that going around on Instagram a lot too? Or?
Not just in general. Like whenever I do presentations for like retailers, I have to cut this off like an hour before because I do not want to burp on stage.
Right.
It's happened before. It's awesome.
Well, this stuff's so sweet. I kept wanting more and more and more. That's kind of like that little dopamine hit getting there. So, you personally, I want to use you as like an example.
Sure.
You said I don't always want this, but sometimes you do. And I think we've been alluding to this other product out there, which is C4 Ultimate,
Yep.
which can be used in a higher, more extreme situation when you want a little bit more. So, how does Frank himself choose between? You got tubs and tubs and tubs of pre-workouts.
Yeah.
So, how do you choose what you're going to use for a given workout?
So a lot of times it just depends on what I'm planning to do that day from a workout perspective. So, if it's a day where I'm doing something that's lower rep, higher weight, more mechanical overload as opposed to like a hypoxic overload, I'm gonna do something that's a little bit more caffeine, a little bit more stimulant because I want the extra motor unit recruitment. But if I'm doing that something more hypertrophy based, and maybe I don't need all of that extra stimulation to achieve the result of that workout, I'll do something that's a little bit more toned down because I just don't want. For one, I don't even want to build a tolerance to the caffeine, so I'm very sensitive to the amount that I consume at any one time because I don't want to have to go higher than 300 personally.
Right.
I'm kind of getting to that point just because we do so many tastings here. I mean, we have a lot in any one day. Sometimes I'll give you an example. Actually, when we're doing the development of this flavor system, we have little 2-ounce cups that we pour these into. We probably pour them, half full or so. So it's like an ounce. Try to only drink maybe half an ounce per flavor when I'm like comparing flavors and developing flavors. And we had people here working on it and probably tasted 50 samples in a day, right? And it's like 6 ounces is serving. So, if it's like 50 samples and they're all an ounce or a half ounce, like you can start doing the math of how much I've had. And I probably had coffee that morning, just kind of like taste coffee. So like it all adds up over time. And so I'm at the point where it's like, I can take 300 milligrams and it really doesn't hit me the way I would like it to. So it's like, I want to be cognizant of that and try to reset myself and weigh myself down so that I can be sensitive to caffeine still, because I mean, the objective shouldn't be like, the first to like a gram, it should be like, what's the most I can get out of the least, the smallest.
Right,
doses.
kind of like dieting. I want to be able to eat as many calories as I can while still losing weight, like and being satisfied with everything.
Yeah.
And so you're almost on the opposite end of that with caffeine. I'm not sure if we mentioned it though. That's why you're not drinking any right now, is because you're doing
I
tastings.
just did a taste test this morning, so
So here's the problem though. Now I'm just asking about taste test though. I'm sure you had a ton of this with it. Doing half a shot, just like 1 ounce, or you're doing half of that even. That's not how most people are drinking it though. So is that a fair taste test when you're like, how do you?
So
get
we do it multiple ways. So when we're first kind of like trying to develop these flavors and figure out a good starting point. So that initial sip is very important, right? So we that's like kind of how we, there's multiple filters of this process. So that's kind of like that first filter.
Gotcha.
And then once we whittle it down and kind of get more settled on what our flavor systems look like, then we kind of take bigger amounts, bigger doses, just to make sure like, hey, is this delivering through a full serving the way we intend it, not just like on a single sip, it tastes good and then you get sick of it.
Pepsi, Coke challenge, and all that.
Yeah, so it's when we taste so many flavors and so many revisions, and again, it's funny because we were just somewhere the other day and they put the revision history on like our samples, and it was number 41, so it was the 41st revision of that flavor. You taste so many samples that you kind of lose sight of what how a consumer drinks it. So we try to like reset ourselves and make sure that we're doing like a more traditional like consumption pattern, which is like a full serving or a majority of the serving. So.
Yeah, do you notice like one of the things that Ben and I were talking about, a lot of times people, like we always drink cold water. I got ice and everything, but not everyone's using cold water. The gym's got a nasty old water fountain that's warm. Like, how much can you really worry about the real world situation? And no one's, in our reviews, I'm like, I need 6 ounces of water. And I mean, I don't show this on camera, but I'm like sitting there with a little tiny scale, like getting it between like 5.95 and 6.25.
Water it down or water it up.
Yeah, right. And then so I give my suggestions of what I would do, but like, you know that no one's doing that outside of a few of us oddballs. So
yeah, no. So for us, like we always try to have like a standard way that we set it up so that we're always comparing apples to apples. So it's very controlled.
Right.
Knowing that consumer is gonna, kind of vary how they take it. It's hard to really take into consideration every little factor that could matter. But that's why we try to set something that's probably a little bit more concentrated so that consumers can dilute it down if they needed to.
Right.
As opposed to going too far the other direction, because then it's like, if we intended it to go in like 6 ounces and you taste that 6 ounces and it's not as impactful as you want, like, I guess you can keep concentrating it more and more, but like at some point you want, a well-balanced serving. So.
Yeah, and as a big business, you can't cater to the people who are taking it to the dome. And if they must do that, you have shot rocks for that too.
Yeah.
which tastes awesome, by the way.
Format too, and some other new runs.
Did the second flavor that ever come out?
What's that?
Did the second flavor ever come out? Yeah. I haven't had
We
that
got the
yet.
watermelon and blue Razz.
Okay, nice. I've had blue Razz. Sweet. That was a fun one. Did you help develop that?
Yeah, no, I kind of work on everything, and that was a fun project and one that's super complicated for us to do.
Do you want to get into that at all? I was kind of here to talk about this, but
no, I mean, however.
Tasting we
I
ever
bet.
Yeah, that one's complicated. It just to get it to where we need it to be is just very challenging. So I probably can't like talk too much because there's a lot of IP in there. But
Gotcha,
like putting that together was very more difficult than you would think, and took us a long time. Definitely year plus like working on that. So
wow, awesome. Okay, so down the label, the other big thing was that you're using not just one nitrate ingredient, but 2 grams from 2 different nitrate-based ingredients. And at least at the time, I was like, well, this is like a mainstream level pre-workout. Like that's kind of, in my opinion, this is what really made me easily want to just talk about this on Instagram and everything. I was like, that's a stronger product than people realize, I think. And that's, in my opinion, that's aggressive dosing for what I consider to be a mainstream product that has 200 milligrams of caffeine. So what was the decision behind going with that at all? And for the people who don't understand that, I would just say to try it, because this much nitrate feels strong. That's just...
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just, people internally love nitrates. And, anecdotally, when we have, certain products, certain beta samples, like nitrates are very well received. And we just felt like, hey, we could really amplify this component of this product in terms of, helping to, stimulate pumps and stuff like that in the gym. And so really it just came down to, we felt like we had, creatine nitrate's kind of that tried and true, been in C4 for a long time. And then citrulline nitrate is this novel form of, to deliver nitrates. We just felt like, and it was kind of exclusive to us and is unique.
Okay.
We wanted to incorporate that into the product, just as like a new exciting ingredient that we could give to people, and they could get those double doses of nitrates. And luckily, there are people like you that can kind of explain it and articulate that out to people, and hopefully, as people that try it, they'll understand why we did it.
Yeah, I noticed it right off the bat. Like, and I wasn't doing like a crazy strong workout. And when I said this is a strong thing, I actually meant it in the sense of like weightlifting strong. I was just repping 225, and I was like, it felt like featherweight. And maybe it could have been the day or whatever, but since then it's happened again. It's like there's some days where you pick up the 45 and you're like, dude, I could just like play frisbee with this thing. And then there's some days where you're just not feeling it, and every time I have like the nitrates, I have more of that, like this 45 feels like a 25 or a 35.
You were the first person off the beta samples that mysteriously showed up.
Oh,
The nitrates that were under the hood of that. So yeah, one thing that people have loved, and we still get great praise about C4 Ultimate's pump complex. Again, getting back to that room where we're formulating these toys and just want to make the good stuff as well. And we said, hey, we're going to use this Nitromax. We're going to use this exclusive, citrulline nitrate. We got to get this in extreme. This is just too exciting. This is too cool. Let's pair it next to creatine nitrate. Get that dual nitrate in there. But you were the first to state the dual nitrate presence in there.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it can be felt. And I've had products that also have high doses of nitrate and everything, but they feel good. So it's like I expected it in a way, but then I was lower caffeine that day. So I was like, okay, it was clearly not caffeine because I'm not doing a ton of caffeine right here. Yeah. So that's why I definitely enjoyed it. So Was it your choice to go with citrulline nitrate, or was it like kind of pitched to you guys, or like why? It seems like, okay, you have citrulline, which can give you pumps, and then you have nitrates, which can give you pumps.
Yep.
It seems like a common sense idea to merge these two at some point.
Yeah, no, I think this was definitely something that we sought out because we love, everyone's familiar with citrulline. When you look at the data, right, citrulline's superior to arginine in terms of raising blood arginine levels, which is really the driver of NO production from a enos perspective. And so, the opportunity to combine that with nitrates, and now you have this kind of dual pathway of nitric oxide creation, we just thought it was really cool, really novel way to do it. And, we were super excited to have those kind of supporting materials and be able to tell that story. So, so it just made sense kind of. And honestly, surprising that we haven't seen it, before, but it's a cool ingredient. We're glad we can give it to people, honestly. Right.
So I'm gonna take a quick chug break. So then we cover caffeine. 200 milligrams of N-acetyl L-tyrosine is a rather low dose. So why even bother including it all? Like, what was the decision behind that? Because that's where, it seems like whenever we post about something and we're excited, I'm excited for this product, obviously. I love the double nitrate. Yeah. I like the fact that you raise caffeine. I love the fact that you open up the formula. I love the natural coloring, and we have to talk about some of the flavors and some of the details behind that. So when I like all these things, I get attacked because there's one thing that is disliked in the product, and so I almost feel personally responsible sometimes for these things. Even though I was nowhere in the room. Why is there 200 milligrams of NALT?
So N-acetyl L-tyrosine is one of those ingredients, kind of a heritage ingredient that we've had in C4 for a long time. Consumers know N-acetyl L-tyrosine. We like it mechanistically, like what it's supporting, right? So neurotransmitter creation. We do a lot of alpha and beta testing on these, and it is probably a lower dose, but when we get anecdotal feedback, that kind of helps dial in where we land on some of these ingredients. And so, just when we play around with certain things, we just kind of like how the product performed at that level. And so, that's why we put it in there at that amount. That's just us kind of toying with different dosages, different amounts, different things, like internally, and getting people's feedback. And a lot of times, people don't necessarily know what they're taking, so they just kind of take, if I give you a baggie, I'm just take it, and then tell me what happens. And you can see that, certain things perform better than others, and this was just one of those things that we felt like was, ingredient people understand, ingredient people recognize, ingredient people expect in C4, and then really it's just a matter of hey, where do we need to be, and what's a good level for us in this product, and that's kind of just where we settled with just kind of getting some anecdotal feedback.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, my take is some is better than none. Yeah. I'm not buying it for that ingredient. I'm buying it for the double nitrate personally, and then some of the flavors, which especially in the natural one, I've been excited about. One of the earlier, after the beta test, one of the earlier comments was, I hope they don't mess with the watermelon flavor, because people love the watermelon flavor. And after Ben and I did the flavoring, what we realized is that there were 3 tried and true flavors. I love this. And then there's 3 kind of off the wall flavors that were new and different. Did you do that on purpose?
So a lot of what we do, we always overdevelop flavors. So
what do you mean?
So if we're trying to launch 4 flavors, we'll say, or in this case 6 flavors, right? We'll develop 10 or 12, and then there's certain ones that kind of are those mainstay flavors, and they gotta be there regardless, because that's what consumers want, that's what they expect. And then it's really kind of us internally voting on what do we really like. And I'm probably the worst person to do it, because I taste so many things. So my perspective is so skewed, because it's I get tired of tasting blue Razz and fruit punch, because I taste things all the time. So
those are probably the best sellers.
Yeah, so
we're kind of the same way.
Yeah, so things in Ultra Frost, and I know you guys didn't like it as much, but I'm so different than a lot of the things that I taste, and I'm oh my god, I really like this.
Yeah.
And so it's and that's what's fun about flavor, is it's very subjective. So it allows us to kind of overdevelop, and then get a lot of different feedback, and kind of whittle that down into flavors that we really like. And so we have We have 6 and 2, so 6 of the ones with the artificial sweeteners, and then 2 that are natural sweeteners. And we have additional ones behind that are ready to go if the market demands for it. And you kind of alluded to how much you really like the blueberry lemonade. Well, there's a couple other ones in there that me personally, I think are very good as well. So
Sweet.
Flavor fatigue is a real thing, and that's why you'll see the energy drinks with an entire rainbow of flavors. And I know we have other ones in the pipeline too. It's just, today I want this. Oh, like you said, when you open the fridge, I haven't tried that yet. You get excited.
You do.
Consumers are the same way. When you have a 30 or a 60 powder, I mean, you're going to be living with that for anywhere from 2 weeks to a month to 2 months, depending on how you take it. And so, getting that newness in the flavors and bringing some like the midnight cherry in the powder, kind of transferring some of those that have performed really well in this into the powders has been really cool for consumers to have.
Okay, so you dial your formula in, and then comes, I'm not sure what the order of events is, but basically I'm going to be asking, like, you have a whole lot of new stuff going on with the natural colors, which oftentimes turn brown.
Yep.
And you're going to be, this is C4 Extreme, it's going to be all over the world. Like, what do you do to make sure that this doesn't turn into a brick?
Or
a brown brick.
Yeah, we have a lot of kind of comprehensive stability assessments that we do to make sure the product is behaving physically the way we intend it to, and that's subjecting it to various conditions that kind of stress the product and how it behaves. And we look at a lot of different excipients and excipient combinations and kind of processing procedures, even processing on the raw materials, and until we kind of come up with what we believe to be the most successful kind of product altogether in terms of how it performs, organoleptically, so how well it tastes, and then how well it performs physically in transit, on the shelf, and then also how well it performs. And this is obviously the most important one, is like what are the product in total, like the actives, what they're delivering to the consumer. So that's kind of like the actives, the flavor. Like if you think of 1, 2, 3 of what we're figuring out, right? We figure out the actives, then we figure out the flavor system, and then we figure out the excipient system that kind of helps keep it all kind of free flowing.
Does the excipient system ever change the flavor system? Like, don't you have to?
Yeah, they do. So yeah, what happens sometimes is we set the flavor system, then we change the excipient system, then we have to go back and recalibrate to like where we were originally.
Oh, really? Okay.
But part of that is you want to have a flavor system set before you kind of like initiate some of that stability, because some of the properties of that flavor system are affecting the physical and kind of chemical properties of the formula.
Is it harder to do this with natural flavors? Like, can you explain? Artificial flavors are purely synthetic; they've never existed in nature, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they're approved by FDA or like GRAS or whatever.
Yep.
And natural flavors, are they actually extracted from fruit juice or something like that, or
so natural sweeteners?
I'm talking about flavors.
So flavors are basically just different like chemicals that, from an artificial perspective, that are synthetically derived, and then natural would be a naturally extracted kind of component of a flavor.
So everything here is natural.
So from a flavor perspective, yes.
Yeah, everything PCE has.
Was this
natural?
So was it extracted from a watermelon, or is it like from different various fruit juices?
I'd have to go back and kind of check, but I mean, it could be another material that shares similar compounds or chemicals of a watermelon. I don't know if they're actually taking a watermelon rind or whatever.
Right. So then you choose on this. How long do you have to like let it sit in the heat, or do you put it in some sort of?
It varies.
Chamber or anything like
that?
It
kind of varies from product to product, and what we're kind of looking at. There's no, I can't give you like a one size fits all kind of answer, so it'll just kind of depend. And it's really comes down to what do we know about like the individual materials, and then like kind of looking at them collectively. But we're looking at both physical properties and chemical properties of the individuals and the finished good, and putting it through different tests, I don't want to tell you exactly what we do, since it's complicated and it's hard for us to do it. So hopefully, all of our competitors are doing kind of the same tests, but I don't want to give them a heads up, and if they're not.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm impressed, because what you did here is something that I think seems to be very hard, because I've had some natural stuff just turn worse than brown. And,
Yeah.
and that's obviously something that you don't want to have happen. So, and just being as big of a brand you are, I'm sure there's a crazy process involved. So
Yeah.
We also
so
do, like internally, we did testing where everyone, we had a select group of people sign up, receive 2 beta bottles, just like Apple would do before they release a phone.
Right.
2 months before they release it, here's the new iOS update, test this out, figure out the bugs. So we do that internally as well, and there's strict rules on like, here's what you got to do, have it live here, have it live here.
Like in your
put it
gym
the
bag or
car,
whatever.
put it in your gym bag.
Right, that's
Every time
cool.
you open this, this, take a picture of this from this angle. So we get really, really into the weeds on stability, making sure it's dialed in.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and then you land on something. Around what time where like was this product finished, and then you go to manufacturing or whatever?
Oh man, when we were probably finished wrapping this April, May.
Okay.
So like kind of getting the last bits and pieces of data in that we needed in order to kind of make the final decisions to go forward. And that's why you guys probably got beta samples around April, May, because those like manufacturing timeline, right? So we probably created those beta samples 8, 10, 12 weeks before the finished product. So by the time they were done, we're ready to make decisions on finished product. You guys are starting to get them in. So we were probably April, May timeframe when we were ready to move that forward and get it manufactured.
Cool. All right, sweet. I don't know if I have any other questions about this. I mean, my biggest thing that you notice right away is like, well, this is a flowery, fluffy type of texture. How did that end up happening? Is it
So part of that assessment, right, when you're looking at excipients, so you guys read like it's silicon dioxide and calcium silicate, like on the label, both materials that have like anti-caking and flow properties. Well, there's like 30 grades of silica. There's like 30 grades of calcium silicate. So there's multiple different things that have different attributes that they can impart on the product, and then also just how we're kind of processing the raws and just the product in general can kind of contribute to that free flow of the powder. So it's and there is kind of a range of how it varies. So you might get one that's a little bit fluffier because certain raw materials, like if you were to have a spec, they're gonna have a set mesh size, but there's a little bit of margin either way. So but for the most part, it comes down to really the processing and then just the excipients that we're choosing, and then some of the raws themselves are just happen to be fluffier than others. So
all right, sweet. Well, I think I know enough about C4 Extreme here. Are there any questions I haven't asked? You're the product educator.
I think
educate us.
A lot of my job is taking his big words and putting it into what we call English, which most people we interact with speak. No, the big thing, and Frank sums it up beautifully every time, is PCE and C4 Extreme kicked off what we were calling our pursuit of perfection, and so that encompassed clean, clear, and evolved aspects into the product. He talked about the clear labels. He talked about the no artificial flavors, no artificial dyes, and then the evolved ingredients and formulas. The thing that's really cool is, and you got to see this at a different level. We teased out all those images of our stability testing.
Right.
And, how many versions of Calcio do we test with? All these things that we do internally, like. We beat the hell out of this product because we are pursuing perfection. And when I say that, it's, we want to evolve as, the big pre-workout in the industry to deliver the best product for consumers and bring the most people in to the sports nutrition and fitness space. That's our job and our goal. So when we want to make these products, we want to make them accessible to all, a different range of everything, which we can elaborate on. We'll talk about the other ones coming out.
Yeah, that was my next question. What's the next step?
When we're making each one, we go to ridiculous lengths to make sure that it is the best that we can put into it. And that goes from everything from packaging to design to how we market it, where we market it. If you literally, I wish I could bug with a microphone our flavor testing, because it sounds like the bougiest Somali. We'll just be like, there's really not a lot of cherry note. We could really dial that up, and then someone's in the corner taking notes for the
really.
It is insane how deep we go on these.
How many people are in that kind of?
Wait, Frank literally walked around. I'm going to steal this from you. Frank literally walked around. He has these little strips that he puts on people's tongues, and it tells him whether or not they actually have, what are they called?
Basically, it helps you determine if you're a super taster or not. So, like,
There's a big word he uses for it.
Big super
He uses
taster.
it in Canada. with everyone's individual.
Oh, talking about like SNPs, so like single nucleotide polymorphism, so that kind of affect.
That one.
That can affect your perception of different components of taste, right? So taste is made up of sweet, sour, salty, bitter, umami, and so like if you have these, people can have genetic mutation essentially with different SNPs, and so like certain people can predict or pick up more bitterness in something or detect more sweetness in something, and so. From a sensory perspective, we're always trying to enhance like how we do sensory panels and kind of stratify different tasters into certain segments to really get a good outcome. So with what Greg is talking about, we have these strips that kind of help tell us if certain people are super tasters, kind of detecting things like parts per billion versus parts per million.
This is stuff you can find out in your 23andMe test, right?
Yeah, you probably could. I haven't.
Get everyone tested.
So Frank has created a community within Nutrabolt of who he can and can't trust, and he's so nice that he knows when someone's trying something, he's not going to tell them their feedback because he doesn't want to bias their feedback. And so this tastes good. He'll probably go, "You weren't a super taster, but okay."
Well, and part of it is you definitely don't want to bias people as they're tasting things, so we try to eliminate that if we can.
Do you say this is going to be the next icy blue Razz, or do you just don't say anything?
It depends. Like certain times, people. I mean, if it's blue, right? People their mind goes to a certain place already. It's definitely interesting. Like if we do the carbonateds and we don't give them a name because they're all clear, so you can have like 10 clear, 10 clear drinks lined up, and like it's definitely like if people don't really tell you what it is, and you don't have that visual component, it's going to be hard to detect some of those flavors. But to Greg's point, we'll get pretty in depth in terms of like, hey, we need a riper cherry, we need like a more of like a Bing cherry, maraschino cherry, so we kind of get to that level of nuance, or at least try to on some of these. And like the cotton candy that you're having there, it's really about like mouthfeel and heaviness and really feeling like cotton candy is like lingering on your tongue.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like get that sensation in terms of like a liquefied cotton candy. So like when we develop these things, we go through X number of revisions, and that's partly to get like the attributes that we're trying to look for in that particular flavor. And again, flavor is always subjective, so you got different people with different opinions, different feedback, but we try to really do what we can to get like that consensus of like this blue Razz is better than this blue Razz, and like everyone's like yeah it is. So
gotcha. Yeah, after listening or watching this, there's gonna be a lot of people like, I want to work there. You guys hiring?
We are.
My favorite sentence ever in one of Frank's tastings was, "This is more like a baked churro that's been sitting under the heat lamp than a freshly baked churro." I'm like, okay. I'm just sitting there like,
you've been doing this way too long.
It's nuts. It's great though. That's what we do. Pursuing perfection, man.
That's awesome. How long have you been with Nutrabolt / Cellucor?
A little more than 2 years now. So it's we work on a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, hopefully we probably got a lot of resumes out there.
Yeah. All right, cool. So what's next? You're kind of.
We're in a lot of different countries, so there's a lot of international specific formulas, but this is kind of the first in that Project Clear Evolution platform. So there's definitely more coming within that platform, and all of these things like kind of have been in the works for a while now, and this is just the first one that we've rolled out with. But there's definitely will be more coming, and if you know what our family looks like, then you can probably take a pretty good guess and get to where we'll be. And then there will probably be even additions to that family in total, and really kind of again create products that really hit all ranges of consumers. And again, going back to your Instagram, some of the comments, there will be formulas that come out where those guys are really excited, and I think we'll get them to a point where they're really really happy with what we do here.
Yeah, for sure. It was to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna start posting C4 all over the page and just troll them.
Yeah,
but it was a more professional way.
Here's the thing that I like. I love that we have a community of people that are paying attention, because it's just great, because I think it has every brand challenged to be accountable and deliver their best. And so with this launch, it's unique because we just started with C4 Extreme. If you look at our last launch with the ID series, or even Gen 4 before that, we launched 4 or 5 products at once. So somebody could say, oh cool, a whole family, I'll take that one.
Right.
Like Frank said, we want to give that choice. But again, Project Clear Evolution is the new platform, and this is the leading product that's kicking off that. So, there's going to be more products coming out. We already talked about, Original is going to be living in its shiny chrome OG status. We're going to renovate the Rift. We're going to renovate the C4 Sport, which still has that NSF certified for sport certification for athletes. For anyone that needs that, that's critical. We're going to have the other family members. We're going to have a big brother to C4 Extreme. We're going to have a really big brother.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, I think this has been really informative. We got into the weeds here, but that's kind of what I wanted to do, especially with Frank here. And I think talking about the flavoring and tasting is kind of fun. And so, where's your jobs page for all the people who are looking for?
Nutribullet.com/careers.
There we go. All right, Greg knows it all.
Nutribolt Life on Instagram, and then we're always posting up. We want to expand the family and grow and give back as much as we can. So anyone who's interested in being an extension of Cellucor Nutribolt, because we also have Extend as well.
Right.
Anyone who wants to help from an influencer or an affiliate or athlete or want to join the family in Austin, we're listening. We're always doors open. And get
Sweet.
at us.
And do you have an Instagram that's kind of sports nutrition related for our fans, or anything? Or you kind of keep it?
I don't really do Instagram or most social media myself, but definitely follow Cellucor. I kind of I look because I always like to see what people are saying, and again, we're going to always be more critical on our own products and what we kind of see from people externally. But I know that we'll be developing products that really please a lot of people, and especially the people on your channel. So I just hopefully they keep watching, because it'll drop and they'll be excited for it. And it's stuff we've been working on for a while, even so.
But we've got at Cellucor, we've got at C4 on the go, so you can follow the things that we're doing. That's where you'll see a lot of our nationwide presence. We just did a killer event up in Gurney's in Montauk, New York. Had great exposure and a great event there. So you'll see a lot of the beverage domination too in that world. We've had some of these major distributors actually slide us in and slide out some mega energy drinks to put us in on the shelves. And so you'll be able to follow us there, but we just want to engage and answer questions and get people excited. I mean, like I said, we're America's best-selling pre-workout, but we want to grow the family and grow the space and bring everyone in.
Perfect. Yeah, when you launched these cans, I was like, well, these are going to get picked up for sure. And then once you drink them, you're usually pretty much in. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for watching. PricePlow.com/Cellucor is where you can sign up for the alerts, because it sounds like there's going to be a whole lot more, so you can hit you up on that. And feel free to subscribe to the channel or to the podcast and everything. And we'd love to do this again. We are not that far away, and Greg basically drives by my house every time he's going home, so maybe there'll be some more surprise packages.
And when we do have that big brother and the bigger brother, we're excited because you're going to be one of the first to know.
Awesome.
Again, from proximity.
Guys, I can't say how much I appreciate how much you guys have helped us as well. So it's been a total pleasure on both ends. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, thanks,
Frank. Appreciate it.
Greg?
Yep.
Awesome.
Welcome to PricePlow.